folks, and welcome to our Sunday Morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and I'm the only one here. You see, I gave my two co-hosts, Mikey and Benjamin, a choice. I gave them a couple of days, which one did they want to do? Even turned down a Princess of the Universe with Bruce podcast tonight, because tonight was a night he could have done it. And I said, no, doing Samoflange with my good buddies, because they said this was the day that worked best for them. And I wanted to, we've been having trouble finding days, so I wanted to give them a choice. And they're not here. Now, I got a problem, because I got no more days to record. We got to get a Saturday Morning Samoflange out there. And I got to get another one, too, in the books, because next week, I can't do it either. It's really busy. We were supposed to record a few of them. There's supposed to be some really, and they're going to be great. They're going to be great episodes when we get around to recording them. But for now, I've got to put something in the book. So there's one idea I've had in the chamber for about a month now. And I suggested it 3 weeks ago, I think, and they were kind of cool on it. They, were like, okay, but they weren't that excited about the topic. And I remember when we went to record one, I said, hey, do you want to record this one? And Mikey had little to no interest. Benjamin didn't even make a list for it. So, politely, they didn't think it was that interesting. But I did. I thought it was interesting. And so I wanted to talk about the top 5 things I'd have in my mansion. Not that I'm going to get a mansion anytime soon, but do people dream of winning the lottery? I don't. I think that's like an impossible statistic. You'll never win. It's just a waste of your money. I've never played it. I never will. I see it going in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and people dream of getting rich quick. But the chances of that happening are astronomically against you. So unless you just got money to burn, throw it. I'd rather burn that couple of bucks on getting a Bang energy drink, and that is for real. Oh man, I should have done top 5 Bang energy drinks. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a few top 5s for next week, some random top 5s. But I thought it was kind of cool because I remember, I think I had a dream. It was like a month ago that for some reason I had money. I don't know how I got it. Maybe I'd won the lottery. I don't know. But I was designing my own mansion. And I woke up and I just remember some of the cool things I wanted. I was like, man, that'd make a great top 5. But for other people, just not that interesting. I don't know. Do you fantasize about what you would put in your own mansion? I want to know this, because ever since that dream, I've been thinking about it. Like, seriously. Now, there's things on here that I'm not going to put on here, but I'm a sports guy, so I'd like my own baseball field and football field. We used to play an annual football game every year called the Santa Bowl. Golly, that is for a podcast. Just need to find the right person to put on that podcast. But we used to play an annual game every December. I'd love to have my own, football field, to play on it. Because I always imagine it'd have candy cane striped field goals because it's Christmas themed and stuff. Even though we'd probably play on it more than once a year if I had a football field, of course. And then I've always wanted my own little baseball field. Nothing big, not a stadium, just a nice little field. I thought would be nice. That would be probably an honorable mention. Other than that, I don't think I have any honorable mentions. I'm looking over my list here. All these are solid here. Some of them are more fun than others. I didn't look up anything online for this one, because how do you look up mansions or whatever? Because I wanted to look at just things that, I'm sure some people have this stuff, and I'm sure someone's going to show me online after I do this, like, Matt, someone's already thought about that. One of them is very generic, so I'm keeping that one at my bottom 5. But like the football field, like the baseball field and stuff like that, I'd like to have those. I thought about, would I ever want a bowling alley inside my home? Because some people have that, I've noticed. No. I think that thing would break down eventually. And it would just cost more than what it was worth. Same thing with an elevator. You kind of have to get one if you wanted, I'd like 3 floors. I think that'd be awesome. 3-story home. But climbing up the steps has got to be awful, so you'd eventually have to get an elevator. But wouldn't those be expensive to fix? I don't know. That's just something that goes through my head. And then the other one that, it came and went for me. The other generic thing that I was thinking about that, a movie theater. I have been in a house that had its own movie theater. I think it was just a 20-seater or something, not dogging that, but it had these nice big stadium seating, and I mean, it may have been a 50-seater. I don't know. It looked smaller, but it had a big movie screen and everything. I was like, oh my gosh. The guy I was at someone's wedding, and she knew one of the big wigs at a big company here in town. And he said, yeah, you can use my house for your wedding. And we kind of got the tour, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a mini movie theater in here. And yes, I definitely want one. I think that'd be fun. I think 50 seats would probably be fine. I don't know if I'd have more than that at one time. I mean, a 100-seater maybe to round it up, but I think there'd be too many people, right? I think a 50-seater would be fine. So there you go with the honorable mentions there. Just as houses go and stuff. And so what would I want? Well, number five, this is the generic one, which is why I'm keeping it number 5 here, is a recording studio. I mean, obviously for podcasts, for YouTube and stuff like that. That one's really the only non-unique, kind of boring random one. I'm sure a lot of people have their own recording studios. I think it'd be a lot of fun to record stuff. I'm not really musically talented. I played the guitar a long time ago. I know a few chords to string together. I could barely keep up with anyone right now because it's been years since I played. Actually, when I got married, something happened to my guitar. I swore that I took the guitar to my dad's house, couldn't find it. Dad said I never brought it over, which he's probably right because it's not there, and Dad wouldn't get rid of the guitar or sell it or anything. But I thought I'd given it, I just kind of moved it over him. I don't know what happened to it. It was in the utility closet. I know exactly where it was. I moved everything out of that utility closet, but that guitar is gone. And I really don't know what happened to it. But I played a little bit before I met Megan. Not that much. I'd strum on it with some friends and stuff, but nothing good. I mean, that was just all, fluff. And, I didn't play that much or that well, but I like to play. And I played less and less after college. And I think I started a band one time, and I was lead guitarist. But then it was obvious I couldn't do the lead, so I went to bass. Bass is easy. But then there's someone better at bass. And they said, well, you just do your third guitar guy. I was pointless. I dropped myself out of my own band, which eventually didn't practice because I was the one bringing everyone to practice. I should have been the manager. I can sing, but not as well as some others. I was the least talented person in the band, so I dropped myself off. They practiced and then gave up. They just wanted to jam for a little while. They didn't want to do anything. We thought we'd do the bar scene. You know how it works. You do the bar scene, the local scene. Then you cut your own CD and you send it off to the radio station. Hopefully it catches on. You like the Beatles, man. No, it wasn't going to happen. Delusions of grandeur there. But, yeah, I still played. It was a little 6-string and everything, and I do not know what happened to it. Now, would I get one again? No, I wouldn't play it anymore. And I'd suck even worse than I did back then, so done. I think the only thing I ever did was play for our Bible study group, our college Bible study group, and I was nervous as all get out, because the last guitarist, she graduated, and she gave me the psalm book, and I remember just sitting there for weeks practicing it. Like so nervous, what happens if I mess up? But everyone's singing and no one's really, if I mess up or go too fast or off tempo, no one really knows. But I remember so nervous. That's about the most I did for playing in front of an audience. But anyway, I thought a recording studio would be fun, mainly for podcasts and everything and YouTube videos. All right, so boring one out of the way. Let's get to the exciting one, somewhat exciting, but I already told you that I want a baseball, football field, right? Don't want a soccer field, don't care about soccer, but I want an indoor, ready, sports complex, meaning it's a basketball court, okay? It has holes in the sides in the middle, which also can convert. You put poles in there in a net, and you have a volleyball court. So it can be convertible to a volleyball court. But you also have little, and I say holes, you'd have little plugs over them, covers over them, so you could play basketball without messing up anything or having anyone trip or hurt themselves. But on the ends, there's also removable holes to put in hockey nets. And then it would double as a hockey rink. A wooden hockey rink, obviously, because I'm playing basketball on it too. But you could also enclose, get those. I don't, you know how they make those plastic enclosures? I'm trying to pantomime with my hands for some reason. What is it, festivals and parades and stuff, you can buy those things. Buy a couple of those things, surround it with like a little mini wall, and you can have your own hockey game there too. So it'd be a hockey, basketball, volleyball, sports complex thing. And then I could clean it out to raise the basketball goals up, and then have it as a ballroom or something, or a social event where we have a bunch of we can put up a bunch of tables and have a big thing inside, where it's nice and cool, or it never rains and stuff. So I just think that would be so cool. And you're thinking, Matt, are you really that active into sports? No, but I'd like to be. Am I that good at any sport? No, terrible at baseball. At football during the Santa Bowl, I played defense, and we were smart. We played zone, and we played smart, and I could lead a team defensively. That's something I could do. Got a few sacks. I was always good for like 1 or 2 sacks every game. It'd been a long time since I got an interception, and even longer since I'd scored a touchdown. I used to play offense a little bit and score my 1 touchdown for the game. And then the last, 4 years or something, I didn't, but I wasn't that good. And basketball, used to be really good at basketball, of course, making shots with my height and everything. But again, if you do not practice, you will not be good anymore. Played full court with my nephews. This is a true story. Because I always used to, everyone wanted to play half court. And I was like, no, we got to play full court, like men. This is when I was young. Well, I'm watching my high school nephews play, and they're playing full court. I said, wait, you guys are going to play full court? They said, yeah, we always play full court. I went, dang, I wish I said, well, put me in, boss. Dude, I was awesome. I stole the ball from kids, doing the layup, doing the pass, stealing again, layup, and for the first 5 minutes, I was unstoppable. Then I ran out of breath and had to sit out for the rest of the game. I'm not even kidding. All that hustle, baby. All that hustle, and I had worn my battery out. I mean, completely out. I said, let me take a break. And I just eventually just left because I could not. I was just so worn. I gave it all. Went full court, baby. For 5 minutes, I was a superstar. Oh boy, but I'd still play some basketball. Hockey, we used to play hockey in high school, street hockey, because of course this is Louisiana, no ice around here, and have a lot of fun. I can't really say how good I was because no one knew how to play hockey, so I probably sucked, but I was better than anyone else who was on skates, I guess. I knew how to skate a little bit. I could skate, by crossing my legs, taking turn. I could take a turn without having to stop, which is more than, I think there are maybe 2 other people who could do that when they play street hockey with us. So turns people had issues with, but I never did. So I was decent at it with, we're talking about Southern boys here, so probably not that good. Volleyball, I did pretty good at. I was pretty good at volleyball back in the day. Again, this is high school, college days. Haven't played since then. I play again, but how good am I? Probably not that good. Probably you don't play anymore. Not that good. That's why I hope that my son has a lot of talent because his dad had 0. So I've seen it skip. I hear it skips a generation. My dad had tons of talent. 60 years old. He was on our church softball team. He hit the most home runs out of anyone. I'm serious. He hit home runs. He couldn't even run because his knees were so bad. He'd ask the umpire, is it all right if I just touch first and go back? And they said, yeah, that's fine, because it's softball. No one cares. But Dad would just knock it over the park. Like almost, I mean, not almost every time, but he was guaranteed at least 3 or 4 home runs a game. I mean, he was just soaring. I mean, he had a power swing. And he was good back in the day, and I sucked. And most of us sucked, us brothers. So I'm hoping that maybe my son will be really awesome, because I know someone who really sucks at sports, yet his son's really awesome, so maybe I'm building up false hope too. If my son just gets hit a lot with the baseball and strikes out a lot, at least he'll have a comrade to lean on, because I'll say, yep, that's just like me. You're a chip off the old block, son. But anyway, sports complex, check. All right, so number 3, and this was, let me make sure before I say this. No, this was the second thing that came. No, this was the third thing that came into my mind. So the first thing that came into my mind got number 1. The second thing got number 2. And the third thing got number 3. Were these in order? Maybe they were. Wow, that's very rarely. I just start listing off the things, and yeah, I guess I did put them in order. All right, so number 3, a giant ball pit with a zip line. I mean, it's got to have a zip line. So you're jumping off the zip line and jumping into this huge ball pit. No one knows what ball pits are at Chuck E. Cheese. They don't have those anymore. No one has a ball pit anymore, I don't think. You can buy like a cheap one for your kids. You fill up a swimming pool full of little cheesy balls. It only goes like a foot deep. It's really sucky. But the balls will always dent and get destroyed because they're plastic. But man, nothing was better than the ball pit as a kid, and have an adult ball pit. You go to we have a place like this. You can jump into a pit, but it's like foam squares. I mean, it's fine because you can do flips and everything. You won't hurt yourself. You could do that in the plastic ball pit too, and you'd be fine too. But for some reason, now it's just foam squares is what they use, which, like I said, is fine. But you get stuck in the squares. You don't sink like you would in the ball pit. I don't know. I'd love to get a ball pit, giant ball pit with a zip line. I think that'd be fun. How often would I use that? As many parties as I could. That's the answer to that question. I'd do it, man. I would do it. I mean, when we went at back in the day, Chuck E. Cheese, and what was the other place I loved? Showtime Pizza. Showtime Pizza actually bought Chuck E. Cheese. But Showtime Pizza was basically the same thing, their rival. And they had a ball pit. And it didn't matter what video games. I liked skee-ball. Skee-ball was my jam back in the day. But you ran to that ball pit. You played. When the pizza came, you were a little disappointed because you had to eat pizza first. Your mom made you eat one slice. And it was the only time you ever ate one slice of pizza as a kid, when you were at Chuck E. Cheese or Showtime Pizza. And then you'd head back to the ball pit. There'd be kids in the ball pit. You had to watch out for the little kid because the mom was always yelling at you if you jumped near their little kid. But that was the absolute best time ever. I know one Chuck E. Cheese or Showtime Pizza, like I said, to me, they're borderline the same in a lot of ways. But one of them had a big, giant rubber balloon. It's hard to, it was a rubber bouncy, but it was like one big bounce. It was a one big bump. And so you jumped on it, but it wasn't like a bouncy house. Like they inflated a big rubber ball and only the top half of it was reaching over the floor. That's what it looked like. And then I remember one time when we went back, someone had busted it. And so it was popped, and it was all like drooping in the middle, and they had it closed off. But it wasn't that fun either because you'd bounce a little. You'd bounce on it and then bounce back onto the cushion floor, and you jump on it, and kind of lean your body against it and bounce off of it again. But I was like, well, some kids would jump on top of it, or jump their booty down and bounce back onto the mats. But the thing was, I don't get the point of that. But I remember distinctly that was next to the ball pit, and if the ball pit was crowded, because there was someone that was waiting there, and they'd count the kids, and there were too many kids, they'd call it off because you didn't have too many kids there. And so instead of waiting your turn for a ball pit, which could be forever because no kid's going to voluntarily get out of the ball pit, their mom is going to have to call them and force them to get out of the ball. That means your pizza's ready. You got to get out and eat a slice of pizza. But playing the ball pit as a kid, lots of great memories. I do it as an adult, but I said, zip lines are fun too. The only zip line I ever knew that was at someone's house was my cousin. My uncle was he's still super cool. But back in the day, my cousins had a pool, an above ground pool, and they had a 2-story home. For my uncle's super adventurous. He installed a zip line going out of the window of his son's room. I mean, honestly, the coolest thing I've ever seen before. You hold on to it and you drop right as you're over the pool and drop into the above ground pool. I was like, wait, your dad made this and we can do this and it's fine? He said, yeah. And the drop wasn't that big. He was Uncle Jimmy was a big tomboy back in the day, so he did adventurous things. Boys will be boys. Let's put up a zip line. Screw it. And it was the best thing. I remember we'd travel down. He lived about an hour and a half away from us. And every once in a while, my dad would travel down there for meetings. And so we'd go down there with him. And, oh, man, the zip line with the pool. And then he moved. They moved to another house, and they didn't bring the pool or the zip line. We're like, no, you shouldn't have moved. Didn't you understand you had a pool and a zip line? Come on, man. Priorities. But you got to have a zip line. Being on a zip line is totally cool. I don't go zip lining because it costs like $50, which is like $45 too much for me. I mean, zip lining is not worth $50 at the beach or whatever, which is the only time I see zip lining advertised. And the only other zip line I've ever seen is at our church. Yes, our church has a zip line. No, we do not use it. I think that's the biggest mistake we've ever made. But it's still there because no one knows how to take it down. So you can zip line. It's a double decker church, and I don't know what they use it for, but I remember every Christmas, my wife and I would go for their Christian Christmas showcase, and Santa Claus would zip line down to the pulpit, and I was like, that is awesome. And then when our church bought the church, they kept the zip line, but no one wants to use it, and they're like, we're not going to use the zip line. But I said, well, why don't you take it down? We don't know how to take it down. So they're just leaving it. So I look up at that zip line all the time. Every Sunday I look up at the zip line going, man, just wasted opportunities. But you got to have a zip line. Zip line with a ball pit, number 3. All right, so what is number 2? Okay, number 2, second thing I thought of on my list here, an indoor pool, okay? But I told you I want a 3-story home. I want a water slide on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And what type of water slide? Of course, it has to be a tunnel. You don't want anyone slipping and falling out and falling to their death. So a little tube from the 2nd floor, accessible. There may be 2 or 3, it just depends, where you can zip in and fall into the pool. Now, does that lead to a lot of people, a lot of wet feet climbing back up the steps and, maybe, hopefully not slipping, maybe rubber mats everywhere to the pool? Maybe it does. But how awesome would it be to wake up, go down the pool, especially on the 3rd floor. And I wouldn't let them use the elevator and make them climb for it. Maybe people would do it, maybe they wouldn't. But, water slides on each floor, water tubes, I should say, that goes down there. It's been a very long time since Megan and I have been to a water park. The last time we went was years before the girls were born. I mean, years before the girls were born. And probably 5 or 6 years. And I used to not like them because I had to wear contacts. And that would be great. Top 5 water park moments. I have to get my wife on that one because I could do a top 5 for that. So I'll avoid any stories here. But I didn't really like them that much, okay? Because contacts. I didn't want to take them off because I didn't want things to be blurry. But I didn't want to leave them in because I was afraid I always get water splashed on me. And, generally water parks, I have a history with them. They're not very fun for me. I just don't have fun with them. But I have had fun. Megan's loves water parks. We went to a couple. I wasn't that privy on them at first, and I was like, oh yeah, these are fine. And since I got my LASIK, I don't need contacts anymore, so they're great. They're a lot of fun. And I can't remember the last one we went to. It was probably Six Flags. No, it was the one in SeaWorld maybe. I can't remember. But either way, it was a great time. Had an awesome time. Got water up my nose, in my mouth, everything, but still had fun. And, didn't get too hot or whatever. Kind of learned to stay in the shade. Not be a moron just outside in the sun all day waiting in lines for rides and letting the sun beat down on me. So, learned a few tricks there, and so that would be something that I'd want. But indoor. I have to have an indoor pool. Gosh, I know I could do top 5 water park memories. I have to get Megan on that one. Anyway, all right, so the number one thing, which I think this would be, and this was, usually we do crossover, right? Now, there's a 50% chance there's a 0% chance that Benjamin had any of these on here. Maybe one. The number one is probably the only crossover we would have had. Mikey may have had the ball pit. He's that crazy. He may have had the water slide too. I don't know. That is, I'll say 50-50 on those. But one that I know Mikey would have said, and I'm almost positive Benjamin would have said it too, is my number one, a bat cave, or a mat cave is what I call it. And I've thought hard about this. I want a secret passageway. I want the book that you move, and it's a lever that pulls a lever that releases. I want the bookcase. I know it's cliche. I want the bookcase. And maybe it slides out or something. And do I want the pole? The bat pole? Yeah, I kind of do. I want a pole you can slide down. A good friend of mine, Tim from Open Airlock Policy, is building a house, and he's getting a fireman pole. And I am super pumped about that. Hey, that is called #living the dream. Living the dream, man. That is what he's doing. And so I'd like a mat pole to go down. And how would I get up? Probably just a spiral staircase. I don't want to spend too much, make it too big or whatever, but probably just a staircase to get back out. But what would be in the Matt cave? Well, my own viewing screens, stuff like that. I don't know if I'd have any games in there. Maybe a bookshelf, little room, maybe a bed too. And here's the deal. I don't know if I'd tell anyone. I don't know if I want it to be a fortress of solitude. Like if I want some peace and quiet, I disappear. I mean, eventually I'd have to tell people, right? But I don't know. I'd like it to be a secret. I think that'd be fun. I should also mention probably that I'd like some secret passageways too. I don't know what. My sister bought a house. It is really cool. I mean, it's run down, needs a lot of work, but once she fixes up, it's going to be really cool. It has a wall divider, which I have not seen in a house before. I think that is so super cool. But it also has hidden closets. There's a big long hallway with wood panels. You press certain panels and it opens up into little closet spaces, which I think is awesome. But one is a secret passageway to the kitchen. You just press it and it pops open. It's a door. You just press and click, it clicks back open, and you walk through the wall to the kitchen. It's a quick access to the kitchen. I don't know why they designed this house this way, but it was designed in the 70s. It feels like a very 70s looking house. But it's going to be beautiful when they fix it because their backyard is a garden with a stone pathway all around the backyard. Really nice when it gets cleaned up. They have a, I don't know what it's called, a little garden area in the center of the home, like from one bedroom, the foyer, and the hallway, and the garage. In the middle of that are are trees, a few trees, bushes, a bench. I think it's just a gravel or pebble path, but it's the size of a regular bedroom, but it's like a little garden area in the center of the home, and you got windows all that look out to it, and you can walk in there. You can walk around naked in there. Well, unless someone comes to the foyer, they come inside, they'll see you. But outside, they won't be able to see you. They'll see there's a tree sticking out of your house for some strange reason. But it's just an open area in the middle of, not in the middle, but toward the front of the home, but surrounded by basically four walls of the house. And there's two entrances to it, I think from the bedroom and from the foyer. You can get to this. I don't think you can get to it from the hallway, but you can look out to it. That is super cool. That is super cool to me. And the other thing they have, and my wife loved this too, is they have two rooms that just have window walls. There's no corner beam. They put thick glass and made a big, you can see, two of the walls are just complete glass. And it's a corner, so you can just look over, it's over the backyard and into the kitchen, which is past the little porch area, because the kitchen has two walls, complete glass too, thick glass that you can look out of. Again, who would design something like this? Now, the place is an absolute disaster inside. They had to pull the carpet. They have to redo a lot of stuff. A lot of painting needs to be done and stuff. But there's a radio installed in the kitchen panel door. I mean, and it looks like a 70s radio too. But the thing is, though, that is just so cool. I cannot wait. The whole time I was looking around it, I was going, this is so cool. And I would never buy a house like that because I am not that smart or not that patient to have things fixed up. But that was some cool stuff too. And I think maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was after I looked at that house. That's when I started dreaming about my own little big mansion house. Maybe that's how I'm putting these pieces together, connecting the dots here. But that's what I would have for a mansion, those type of things, 3 stories. I'd want a lot of rooms too in there, just to kind of throw that in there, because I want to have guests that can come by anytime, and stay, or family could always stay. I mean, we're talking like 12 rooms and 12 bathrooms and stuff. I'm talking big stuff here. But I don't know, that's just kind of what I would like. Of course, there'd be a game room. Of course, there'd be a library. The library would probably be the game room. It'd have shelves with books and board games on it. Yay! And it'd have a ladder that, is on a track that you can, swing through, kind of push off. It's on rollers and can roll around and grab anything from the top shelf. It wouldn't be too tall, maybe a 10-footer or something, or 12-footer or something. Not even 12 feet, probably. 10 feet would be fine. And a little ladder to kind of get around. I think that'd be awesome. It'd have a fireplace definitely in there, a desk and everything. Then, of course, a gaming table as well. I'm like all over the place with what I'd want with my mansion. But again, I think I was the only one who was intrigued by this top 5. But hey, let me know. Let me know in the comments. You guys have been great with the comments. I've been reading a few of them here and there, and I think they're awesome. What would you have in your mansion? Well, you've got to have a mat cave or a bat cave, right? You've got to have one. You don't need the giant penny or the dinosaur T-Rex in it, but I think you got to have a bat cave, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some stuff, and the thing is, I didn't look online. I didn't type in zany or crazy mansion rooms, or so. I didn't do that because I just didn't care because I already knew kind of what I wanted. But, hey, if there's something like that, you're like, Matt, there's a blankety blank here. Okay, well, then tell me about it. Yeah, definitely, I'd check it out. And hopefully next time I'll have more guests here on Saturday morning. I'm all by myself. Samoflange!